Hello, and welcome to my MK11 Aftermath review. I recently purchased this game off the PSN summer sale, and to be honest, I wanted this game when it came out. Me being a huge Mortal Kombat fan since as long as I can remember, with Delia Alliance being my favorite. But this game in particular, I felt a way about it since launch, as well as them just showcasing DLC characters more than anything to my recollection. And gaming nerds lit up to negative stereotypes of being too negatively obsessed with rap music and video game trailers. But in any case, I'm finally ready to give my thoughts on it. But first, let me give a disclaimer, as there will be story related spoilers in the following section, and there will be a timestamp on screen in the description to avoid these if you want to explore the story for yourself. And secondly, this is the first version of MK11, so I will be reading the base game including the additional content. Let's get started. So the best way I can explain this story is that this is a continuation off the reboot of MK9 and X, which was a good story and sequel leading up to events of 11, which from the jump catches your attention. And the premise of this story is on the timeline / parallel universe theory, which I liked by the ending, which I will get into by the ending of this section. But I love how the story slightly changed the perspective on the dual character options you have in some chapters. And speaking of chapters, they are replayable, and you can choose specific fights to replay. And because of that, I also like the base story for this game, which is about 5 to 8 hours at max, which is about a good time for a fighting game. But as I previously stated, I like the ending to this game as it virtually sets up another reboot, which is fine in its own right. But the ending is further hinted that the edition where Aftermath comes in is altered the timeline that's already been altered, and the foreshadowing of a string of events that make things catastrophic that eventually leads up to an altered ending, which again makes you have the pleasure of replaying because both endings is tied to a specific fight. And that with that being said, I really enjoy the fights and the story and the development or the expansion on some characters in this story. I look forward to the next installment of the MK storyline. As for fighting mechanisms, there isn't really much to speak about. It's more combat. You already know what kind of game you're going to get at this point, especially if you play MK9 and X, with a couple new returning fatalities such as brutalities and friendship fatalities, and also being able to choose which variation of fire you want to return as well. But the main attraction for MK11 is the customization of characters, which if you already know me, it's a big plus in my book. My wish is that they would have more color options opposed to predetermined color schemes, and more gear, even though it's already a good amount, just to continue to add them in. But heading off that is where my issues with the game began to arise. That this game is a big grind fest, and they incorporate that with online battles, classic and time towers, not to mention the crypt is how you get things in the game outside of rewards in the fights. And it's a mixed bag of things with different currencies, and the game is agreed is more apparent from the microtransactions inside the game. In the addition, the game has to always be online to have any type of progress. And with that being said, I'm not saying anything new, because as I researched this, these problems apparently plagued the base game, which is unfortunate to say the least, and that Netherrealm with this route. But I can finally talk about online fighting, and now they have a thing called AI fighting, where you basically customize your fighting AI and you send them off to battle other online AI, which is an interesting concept if you want to have passive grinding or just take a look at a fight. Now the biggest pleasant surprise for me was this game features crossplay between PS4 and Xbox One, which was a very enjoyable when I played it, and it felt very seamless. And so kudos to the netcode, and hopefully PC players can be included at some point. Here are my final thoughts for this game. I really did love this game from the graphics, story, crossplay functionality, and customizations it included. But the grinding that this game calls for is easily the biggest turnoff for anyone, and ultimately think that because of that, this will be the lesson that will not be tolerated, and hopefully that the next game won't contain some of the blatant greed and tediousness that this one can possess. Now here's the interesting part, this game has so many price drops, even the base game was like $20 the last time I checked, and the version I will go for if you haven't purchased the game already is called the Aftermath Kollection, to get more bang for your buck and to get everything, which should be fairly easy to do since I've seen this game going on sale far back as July of 2020 for like $40 and potentially earlier. So here's my final recommendation: get the game on sale. Do not get this game for full $60. This game, and already have the base. If you already have the base game, then I will wait for the DLC to be on sale too. And that's on the assumption that you don't care for grinding or things, or only care about fighting and only fighting. The grinding does not affect the gameplay at its core, to be clear. And to remind you that when this game came out, it came out in May 20th of 2020. So all the expansion came out this year. Okay, you guys, that's going to be the end of the video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you like more combat? Do you not care for this game? Do you play 9 or X? Where are you at? Are you an old school fan of MK like I was growing up? Which system you going to go for? Because that's crossplay. Do you even plan on picking it up? Do you even play fighting games? Because I do want to make a fighting game video related in general, because I have a really strong feeling about fighting games right now. But other than that, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Make sure you check out my other channel. Make sure you check out my Twitch. I want Hydra the Alpha Gamer for my YouTube, and Hydra Alpha Omega for my Twitch. So everything will be linked in the description below. And have a good day. Goodbye.